All right, it's 11 o'clock and we have some fun stuff to get through. So I would like to go ahead and get started. Kelly, are you ready with a tech update?
I am, and in fact, I'd like to start with the demo. Does that work for you?
Yes, that's perfect.
Fantastic. All right. So, hi everyone. We are interested today in delivering a demonstration of how the block store supports a node in an active network environment in a restart scenario. And the reason this is important is you can imagine a long blockchain, lots of blocks, and when your node restarts and the chain keeps growing, the catching up is difficult. So if you restart with a sensibility of where you left off and use that as a launching pad, it's very fast for you then to catch back up. So let me share my screen here. On my screen, I've got two things going on. On the right-hand side is where I want to start, and this is a visualization of the blockchain. I have a network right now running with 6 validators. This one over here on the far left, 191, is me. I also want to call your attention to the Genesis block, which starts with F as in Frank, B as in boy, F as in Frank, 0. And this is important for us just to keep in mind that that's the Genesis block. Here's the blockchain. These 5 validators are auto-proposing every minute and a half to 2 minutes, and then I'm manually proposing, which is why you will see that my node is not validating quickly. But if we zoom out, and I know, Christian, this is just no good for you, but if I zoom out very far, you can see that this chain has been growing. It's been growing for about an hour. And if we look carefully, somewhere up here, yeah, this gray box up here indicates the most recent finalized block. So that is the state of things. 6 validators, growing blockchain, and on the left-hand side of the screen, this is my node, and it's running right along. And I can see that most recently, my node added block number 65 to its DAG. So with that in mind, we're remembering block 65, we're remembering our sense of what the Genesis block was. So now I'm going to kill my node, and you can see it go through its shutdown process. So what happens next is I'm going to wait for just a minute. I'm curious to see the network maybe add 1, maybe 2 blocks. And so on the right-hand side of my screen, I'm looking at a log aggregation of all of the validators that are currently running in this network. Specifically, I'm looking at validator 1 in this view. And I can see that validator 1 just received block 66. So I can see that the chain is continuing to grow even though my node is no longer participating. And so with that, let's restart my node. And let's observe. So remember, my node last saw block 65. We're remembering the Genesis block started with FBF0. And on the left-hand side of my screen, you can watch my node restarting. And here you can see that it pulled the Genesis block right up. So I know that it's pulling that up from storage because it didn't ask to receive it. And if I do show blocks, and this is the view of the state of things from my node, I can see that I picked right up from block 65. And in a moment, as there continues to be activity on the network, I should be queued to catch up to at least, we know that there's a block 66 out there. So what you're seeing on my node here is I'm going through the process of reconnecting to Bootstrap. I'm getting peers, and a lively, excited time where I'm getting block 68. And so what you're observing here on the left-hand side is catch up from block 66 because my node was already aware of up to block 65. So if we take another look at this point, I'm expecting to see there's 66. And so what's happening now is I saw that there was a block 68, and my node is in the process of requesting missing blocks, processing the blocks that are missing. And if we give it just a moment, it will catch up to the state of things. And there's block 68. So I've caught right back up to the state of the network. And it could be argued that this is no, it's not a wimpy example. Greg doesn't like it when I use the word wimpy, but it's a it's a basic example of catch up. So catching up to 68 blocks is it's good in terms. I can say that we're successfully demonstrating catching up with the support of the block store. But when this gets really exciting is an example that we tested earlier, where there was, over 100 blocks in a blockchain, killing a node and very quickly catching up. In that scenario, when there's a long blockchain and you've got over 100 blocks, if you were just joining the network, you could expect it to take quite some time to catch up and then keep moving along with the network. But with the support of the block store, that happens just as quickly as you observed today. In this particular example. So let me pause there. Are there any questions about what you just observed?
Well, I was particularly impressed, with the whole process of the, Danyar and support put it together. There was a review of the PR, and it sort of went in without much of a hiccup last week, if
Yeah,
I
that was
recall the
crazy
process.
exciting.
It was pretty impressive, right? This
Yeah.
massive feature goes in almost without a hitch. I mean, there were a couple of little gotchas, but almost without a hitch. So that indicates a sort of really significant jump in code velocity, which I think is really very impressive, especially given all the things that the team is working on. Very
Mhm.
impressive.
I would agree that this feature just went into the project very neatly. There were a little hiccups, but I'm really grateful for the work of Danyar, Pavel, and Kent to mitigate those. And so, at this point, we're very comfortable with the implementation of the block store and the role that it plays in supporting nodes upon restart.
Absolutely, and this gives us, in terms of moving forward, this is going to make it possible for the public testnet to adopt a kind of fail fast policy. So if a node is not acting correctly, or there's some suspect behavior in the node, then we can just shoot it in the head and start it up again,
Hmm.
without a lot of worry about the overall. The general network can stay up. So yeah, that's an important piece of the puzzle here. Very good. Any more on this demo, or are you ready to give the sort of regular updates?
No, I'm ready to move on.
All right. Great
Okay,
demo.
thank you for that. All right, so here we are with our full community update. We are in the last few days of our current sprint, which is slated to end March 18th. Our priorities are block store functionality, wallet completion of the wallet and cost accounting implementations, and public testnet infrastructure. Very pleased with the implementation of the block store and having tied that off before the end of this sprint. Wallet and cost accounting are on track, as is the public testnet infrastructure work. So feeling very good about where we are in the sprint and what we can plan for the sprint ahead. We do plan to release Node 8.5 sometime during next week, related to the end of the sprint. So you can take a look at the release plan to see what work is coming into that release. You're welcome to take a look at what we are working on towards Mercury in our features doc. We are working towards a public testnet with the plan to release the first rollout of that the week of March 25th. I do encourage you to take a look at the link on this page to learn more about the public testnet and what we are planning to do in terms of rollout and what you can expect as an end user to be able to do on that platform. We're really excited to get this launched and working with you guys. And at this point, we have no known blockers to the delivery of testnet 1. We are on track for that. We did decide, following last week's community test, to permanently move the community test to Thursdays, and that will now be going forward on Thursdays at 1400 UTC. You can please check out our page to learn more about the community test, how you can participate, and we will be looking forward to doing that test this week. Our goal is to do that test using the public testnet infrastructure to demonstrate that that's in a place where that we can start to use it and rely on it. So good news there. I was happy to deliver a demo of our block store. Consensus work, we're investigating two bugs. One is related to the way the estimator is working, and the other is related to an error that shows up and says unknown root. Investigations are ongoing. These are kind of pesky bugs. They're hard to reproduce. We're not quite sure where they're coming from and have some leads. So that's what the team is working on. We have work planned right now to implement some long-running tests in a new drone instance. Drone supports our continuous integration and automated testing. And have a plan also to start work immediately on the property-based test to provide better test coverage for the estimator and safety oracle. One of our challenges right now with Casper is making sure that we just have really broad and deep testing available to help us look at it and anticipate challenges before breaking bugs get into the system. I mentioned that cost accounting work is on track. This is a representation of where we are with that. I will say that down here in these, the RChain 2884, that is not a blocker to the delivery of cost accounting in terms of usability of a feature. So I anticipate that this win will not be complete coming out of this sprint, and it doesn't block the delivery of cost accounting as a feature. The node team continuing to work with the SRE and white block teams to support use of the white block test infrastructure. Pavel's been working on profiling the node and understanding how it's working and places where we might consider optimizations. The team has also had a conversation earlier today about investigating the current threading approach for handling of Casper-related messages. The current approach isn't broken. We're just wondering if we should pursue an optimization in that space. And so Pavel's going to take a look at that. The test infrastructure, Tomasz is working towards having the infrastructure complete for the public testnet so that we can start playing with it, hopefully as part of our community test on Thursday. Adam is working with the white block team. The white block infrastructure, their team, like our team, is working to deliver a platform, and so they're also working very quickly and trying to make updates so that we can get what we need out of their infrastructure and make sure that that will help support us in hardening of the platform leading into the Mercury launch. And performance testing, very grateful for Joshi with his collaboration on working on a contract that will be, from our perspective, a benchmark of what the platform performance is in terms of COM events per second. And so there's a draft of that in, and it's under review, and the team is taking a look at it. So very grateful for his help there and looking forward to having that in place so that we can benchmark our performance. And then finally, the wallet team, they are also on track to deliver this feature by the end of the sprint. And you can see here that this is where we are. I will call out that 2969 is not a blocker to the delivery of this feature. It will add test coverage. So I'm not too concerned if that rolls over, and it likely will roll over into the next sprint to continue and to complete the test coverage for this particular feature. Are there any questions about where we are as a development team?
I was wondering, where are we in terms of those features that we might do demos? So in particular, do we want to wait until after the release is cut and the sprint is completed, or are we far enough along that demos are in order in the next week or so?
Demos definitely are a priority of both of these features. We have planned to do some demonstration in that space, probably for wallet and cost accounting in the next 1 to 2 weeks. That's the goal. And when I say demonstration, number one, I want to be able to demonstrate for you guys here how that works. Also, we would like to be able to use those features in community tests as part of our hardening and debugging effort as well. Also, and I guess third point, we also want to use those opportunities as educational opportunities, because these are the features that users are most likely to use when they engage with the testnet platform during the rollout of testnet 1. So that's our goal in the next 1 to 2 weeks.
Awesome, very good. Yeah. So anything we can do in terms of recording the demos so that people can follow along um,
Okay.
in their own on their own computers and make it happen for themselves. That would be good as well.
Okay.
Cool. No, this is really fantastic. Kelly, you and the team and Chris and I, we've all been talking about a developer offsite. Do you want to?
Yeah, I'd love to talk a little bit more about that. So we've learned a lot about ourselves over the past several months, and starting back at RCon 3, when we were all together physically and synchronously in the same place, and the amount of work that we can get done during those opportunities. And then the team, not including me last time, went in January. They met in Warsaw, and we got a tremendous amount of work done that really jump-started the development, the practical coding of the wallet and cost accounting features. And so we did that in January, realized the significant benefits of that, and are planning to do that same thing again in April, the week of April 8th. We plan to go to, oh, the team's going to laugh at me, I'm going to murder this town, Wrocław, which is not Warsaw, but is another town where at least 3 members of our team are located. And we're going to meet there as a development team. Our priorities in that meeting are to look at not features, but look at, I guess features might be the right word, to look at those things that are critical for Mercury, not necessarily at Mercury, the mainnet launch, which would be Mercury 1, but those things that need to be delivered as patches to Mercury, certainly before we start developing Venus. And so those things include performance, they include sharding, and they include storage, or the ability to store data on chain in exchange for rent. So those are the 3 things that we're thinking are the most likely candidates for our working sessions when we're together in Poland in April. Looking forward to being together as a team that accelerates those conversations. In sharp contrast, you can imagine the challenge of trying to have those types, the depth of design level conversation and development level conversation in 1 to 2 hour chunks on the phone when people are in different time zones, and we're looking at each other and looking at whiteboards together is really challenging. So the ability for us to get together is extraordinarily valuable. And that's our current plan, is to meet together in April to get that type of work done and to complete everything that would be then required for Mercury before we start working on Venus.
Great. Thank you very much. Any questions from the community about those plans as well? Okay.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Silence is golden. So we can move on then to just some quick updates. The co-op has engaged Miller Nash. That was engagement letter and um, retainer were all exchanged last week, last Friday and Monday. So we are officially working with them, and they have their tasks cut out for them. So we're excited about their level of engagement. Right after this call, I'll be speaking with them on getting the final legal touches around the equity vehicle that we've been discussing with the community and with the various people. So that will give us enough data to be able to make the final determination there. To that end, I think we have announced, or maybe this is the first announcement, that we'll be setting up a final process to collect any final data from the membership regarding the equity vehicle proposals. So look to the member Discord channels to if you want to participate in that. And let's see, is there anything else on that front? I think that about covers it. So let me turn it over. Derek, did you want to just alert people as to what's happening on the blog and marketing?
Sure. Your last podcast that you featured was by far our most popular. So we're going to be continuing in that vein. I know we have about 3 scheduled. I believe the next one will be tomorrow, discussing some of the behind the scenes at RChain. So right now the work is really focused on that, and then the development of the other applications and things that are going to bring in revenue to the platform. But right now, I think the focus is really the developers and Rolang and correct by construction and concurrency and the things that people like talking about. So that's where our head is at the moment as we approach mainnet.
Yeah, and that thank you. And yeah, I think this is sort of why the project has had so much currency with the crypto communities is exactly those technical discussions, right? It's those that have always garnered interest from the community. So it's gratifying to see that there's still considerable interest there. Fabian, is there any are there any updates we want to give about RSong to the community?
I could share that the business plan has circulated over to the board, and we're waiting on comments. The pitch deck has made its way to the board, and we're waiting on comments. And all the various pieces of collateral that need to get out there into the world to allow for RSong to be an equity vehicle are pretty much on the verge of completion. And our little kernel of a team is taking the steps towards building out the prototype for that platform.
Fantastic. That's wonderful news. Yeah, and I've been really impressed with all the efforts that people have put into that, into getting those materials together. With that, I think there are no further updates that we want to put in this forum. Again, there are lots of updates that we will put in the members Q&A, which Ian announced at the top of the hour. So with the balance of the time, I'm happy to entertain in any sort of questions from the community, or we can end the hangout early.
I'll say that Ravi's not here because he has a fever of 103. Just if anyone's wondering where Ravi is at the moment, because he's been kind of a pivotal figure at the moment. So I just wanted to give everyone that update.
Thanks, Christian.
Yeah, absolutely. I sent him some well wishes this morning. I'm sorry he came down with the whatever is ailing him. It's been going around. I know our household was hit pretty hard. Probably some people heard me coughing on these hangouts the last couple of weeks. Anything else from the community that people want to talk about?
This is Ian. In case you missed it, there was an announcement at the beginning of this chat that we have a couple new channels open in Discord. There's a new member channel, which is for the Friday Q&A to be held this Friday at 1 p.m. Pacific. And this is a channel where you can submit questions or issues that you want addressed in that session that Greg is hosting on Friday. And if you can please also provide some emoji sentiment, like a thumbs up, we can measure the interest in some of these posts and prioritize where the conversation should be. Also, we've added a members audio chat channel at the very bottom of the Discord channel listing. So anyone who's done the members KYC can at any time go into that members chat. And that's also where we'll be holding the Friday Q&A. And also there is a new announcements channel, which Derek is curating, which we're going to be doing a lot more postings of whenever we have a new blog post or podcast or event with the co-op. You'll be able to find it there.
Excellent, thank you. Any other questions, comments, feedback from the community?
Yeah, there's a question on. Can everyone hear me? Okay. Sorry about my mic was off. So there's a question on YouTube. Is the board or anyone on the operations team addressing further threats that KuCoin is going to delist Rock from the exchange. This has happened multiple times. Do you want to comment on that at all, or do you want to maybe take that to a
That has to go to the members Q&A. Sorry.
Okay, members Q&A. If you guys have that question, so those that Discord channel will be open today, right, Ian?
That channel is open now.
There you go.
Awesome. Any other questions? Going once. Going twice. All right. I think with that, we will end the community hangout for this week. And I'm really, really excited about the progress that we've made, and looking forward to more demos coming up in the upcoming weeks. Ciao.
Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.